Family Feud is an American television game show created by Mark Goodson. It features two families who compete to name the most popular answers to survey questions in order to win cash and prizes. The show has had 3 separate runs, the first of which started in 1976. Its original run from 1976 to 1985 aired the series on both ABC and syndicated, with Richard Dawson as host. In 1987, the series was revived as a pilot and later in 1988 aired on both CBS and in syndication with Ray Combs hosting until 1994, with Dawson returning until the latter version ended in 1995. In 1999, the series was revived through its first-run syndication with 4 different hosts: Louis Anderson, 1999 to 2002, Richard Karn, 2002 to 2006, John O'Hurley, 2006 to 2010, and Steve Harvey, 2010, present. Studio announcers who introduced the contestants and read credits included Johnny Olson, 1975 pilot, Gene Wood, 1976 to 1995, Burton Richardson, 1999 to 2010, Joey Fatone, 2010 to 2015, and Reuben Irvin, 2015 present. Within a year of its debut, the original version became the #1 game show in daytime television. However, as viewing habits changed, the ratings declined. Harvey becoming host in 2010 increased Nielsen ratings significantly and eventually placed the program among the top 3 most popular syndicated television shows in the United States. Harvey has also surpassed every previous host in tenure, although Dawson, as of 2024, has hosted more episodes of the show. The program has produced multiple regional adaptations in over 50 international markets outside the United States. Reruns of episodes hosted by Steve Harvey air on Game Show Network, as well as in syndication, while reruns of earlier versions air on BUZZR. Aside from television shows, there have been also many home editions produced in board game, interactive film, and video game formats. When Family Feud was conceived in 1976, Richard Dawson, then a regular panelist on the Goodson, Todman game show Match Game, had a standing agreement with Mark Goodson that when the next Goodson, Todman game show was in the planning stages, Dawson would be given an audition to host it. Dawson had read in trade publications that a pilot for a new show named Family Feud was in the works, and it was originally to be hosted by Star Trek actor William Shatner, although since they were involved in the run-throughs, Jeff Edwards and Jack Nars, the latter of whom reputedly was Goodson's initial choice to host, were under consideration. Incensed, Dawson sent his agent to Goodson to threaten to present an unfunny, silent, and bland persona on future Match Game episodes if he was not given an audition for Feud. Dawson was then selected as host of the original ABC and first syndicated versions of Family Feud. As writer David Mark put it, Dawson's on-air personality fell somewhere between the brainless sincerity of Wink Martindale and the raunchy cynicism of Chuck Barris. Dawson showed himself to have insistent affections for all of the female members of each family that competed on the show, regardless of age, kissing them, an act that attracted some controversy then among viewers. Writers Tim Brooks, John Elowitz, and Earl F. Marsh attributed Family Feud's popularity to Dawson's glib familiarity. He had previously played Newkirk on Hogan's Heroes, and Ready Wit, from his tenure as a panelist on Match Game. The show's original announcer was Gene Wood, with Johnny Gilbert and Rod Roddy serving as occasional substitutes. Mark Goodson created Family Feud during the increasing popularity of his earlier game show, Match Game, which had set daytime ratings records between 1973 and 1976, and on which Dawson appeared daily as one of its most popular panelists. Match Game aired on CBS, and by 1976, CBS Vice President Fred Silverman, who had originally commissioned Match Game, had moved to a new position as president of ABC. The show, along with a revised daytime schedule for the summer, was first announced by ABC at an annual meeting in May. The show premiered on ABC's daytime lineup at 1:30 p.m. ET/12:30 p.m. CT/MT/PT on July 12, 1976. Because it faced the first house of 2 long-running and popular soap operas, CBS as The World Turns and NBC's Days of Our Lives, Feud was not an immediate hit. But a timeslot change several months later made it a ratings winner for ABC, and it eventually surpassed Match Game to become the highest-rated game show on daytime TV. Due to the expansion of All My Children to 1 hour in April 1977, the show was moved to 11:30, 10:30 a.m., as the second part of an hour that had daytime reruns of Happy Days, later Laverne and Shirley, as its lead-in. When the Dick Clark-hosted $20,000 Pyramid was cancelled in June 1980, Feud moved a half-hour back to 12 noon, 11 a.m. It remained the most popular daytime game show until Merv Griffin's game show Wheel of Fortune, propelled by a new, highly popular concurrent syndicated evening version, surpassed it in 1984. From May 8, 1978 until May 25, 1984, ABC periodically broadcast hour-long primetime all-star specials, in which celebrity casts from various primetime TV series, mostly ABC ones, competed instead of ordinary families. The popularity of the program inspired Goodson to consider producing a nighttime edition, which launched in syndication on September 19, 1977 with Viacom Enterprises as distributor. Like many other game shows at the time, the nighttime Feud aired once a week. It expanded to twice a week in January 1979, and finally to 5 nights a week, Monday through Friday, in the fall of 1980, representing the first time that a weekday network game ran concurrently with a nightly syndicated edition. Dawson and Feud coasted for several years at the top, seen twice a day in much of the country. However, the viewing habits of both daytime and syndicated audiences began changing around 1984. When Griffin launched Wheel's syndicated version, starring Pat Sajak and Vanna White, in 1983, that show climbed the ratings to the point where it unseated Feud as the highest-rated syndicated show, even replacing it on some stations. The syndicated premiere of Wheel's sister show Jeopardy! With Alex Trebek as host also siphoned ratings from Feud with its early, and surprising, given an unstable first few months, success. With declining ratings, probably due mainly to its overexposure and viewers subsequently tiring of the show, and as part of a scheduling reshuffle with 2 of ABC's half-hour soaps, the show moved back to the 11:30, 10:30 timeslot in October 1984, as the second part of a 1-hour game show block with Trivia Trap, later All-Star Blitz, as its lead-in, hoping to make a dent in the ratings of The Price is Right, coincidentally another Goodson packaged show. Despite the ratings decline, there was some interest in keeping the show in production. In a 2010 interview with the Archive of American Television, Dawson said that Viacom contacted him toward the end of 1984 to gauge his interest in continuing his role for the 1985-86 season. Although Dawson was still enjoying his work, he said that with the grueling taping schedule and having to record 2 separate daily editions of Family Feud from 1980 onward, he had spent the equivalent of 11 years working on the show and was growing tired of the grind. He said that he was willing to finish whatever commitment he still had to ABC for the daytime series, then record 39 weeks of episodes of the syndicated series for the 1985-86 season and be done with it. As Dawson recalled, he did not hear from anyone for approximately 1 week. He then received a call that Viacom had made the decision not to renew the syndicated series beyond the 1984-85 season. Viacom made this official in January 1985 ahead of that year's NATPE convention, and within a few weeks, ABC, probably prompted by Viacom's decision, decided that it too would not renew Feud for the 1985-86 season. The daytime version came to an end on June 14, 1985. The final week was taped a month prior, on May 16. Newspapers via Associated Press reported that this version was slated to end on June 28. However, for reasons undisclosed, it ended 2 weeks prior to that instead. The syndicated version aired its last new episode on May 17, 1985, with reruns of the final season continuing until September of that year, although first-run episodes were no longer airing.